Hi, my name is Jo Peacock and I'm with a company called ConnectSphere. We are IT service management specialists. And you're looking at this particular video because you've just booked yourself onto an ITIL Intermediate class. And what I'm going to help you do is prepare for that class and make sure that you get the most out of it. So, what do you need to do before you come to your class? Well, you will have been sent a set of what we call joining instructions, and those joining instructions will tell you what your pre-course study is. It will also give you a copy of the course syllabus. You should also, if you haven't been sent one, you need to obtain the relevant book that goes with the course. This is the ITIL core publication, and here's an example, this one's Service Transition. Because one of the things that you really need to do is to understand your foundation material. It's a prerequisite of the class, and it's also in the syllabus there, that you will need to understand the objectives and the purpose and the inputs and outputs and interactions of all of your ITIL processes up to foundation level. Now, don't panic if you can't find your foundation course material, because it might have been a while ago that you did that, because all of that's covered in section 2 of these books. So take a read through that as a bare minimum before you get to class, because if you don't, you're going to be at a disadvantage from all of the other delegate students on that class. They will have done that. You need to have discussions about these objectives, about these processes, and if you're not able to join in those discussions, you are going to feel at a disadvantage. This book's a really, really useful book. Whichever one you've been sent, depending on the course that you're going on, chapter 4 in this book will outline all of the processes that are going to be discussed in the class. So please don't think that you don't have to learn about those, that we're going to learn about them again, because we're not. Again, we're going to start with the understanding that you already know the objectives. What we're going to be doing is analysing those processes and looking at how we can manage those processes. So I'll just assume that you know what the process is about. So please take a read through section 4 of the book before you come to class as well. The syllabus states that you have to have a minimum of 21 hours worth of personal study. Now, you can't get that in a week. So that includes your pre-course work, but what it also includes is homework during the week of your class. So clear your diary. If you've got anything planned on any evening whilst you're in class, then perhaps you need to be looking at booking your class for another week, or see if you can rearrange any of your evening activities, because you are going to give yourself the best advantage of learning about the subject if you can engage in the homework and in the reading. So try and keep that week clear just for your ITIL studies, and be prepared to get involved in the class and talk to me. I'm the instructor, I'm your tutor, it doesn't matter who it is. You need to be able to get involved and talk to them, because as an instructor, I need to know what's going on in your head. I need to know whether you've understood our discussions. And if you haven't understood our discussions, then I need to perhaps approach it in a different way so that you do understand. And that's my objective for the class, is to make sure that you walk out of here at the end of the class understanding everything that we've talked about. So I need you to get involved and I need you to talk to me, because if you don't, then how do I know whether I've managed to get the message across to you? Another very, very useful tip for your class is to review the sample papers. They're available on the Best Practice Management website. You'll be given them as homework, you'll be given them during your class to do sample questions. They're your only opportunity to actually see what a test is like. And talking about the test, well, let's go into that in a little bit more depth. What is your test or your exam like? It's 1.5 hours. It's what we call scenario-based. It's closed book, which means that you don't get to look at the book. But then saying that, you don't have time to do that. By the time you've read through your questions and you've analysed the answers, you really don't have time to be looking through a book. So the fact that it's closed book is an advantage to you. So it's 1.5 hours, you get 8 questions, and they're what we call complex multiple choice. So you get 4 possible answers, you have a 5-pointer, which is the best possible answer, you have the second best answer, which will give you 3 points, The third best answer will give you 1, and we have what we call a distractor, which will give you 0 points. Now, those answers, you've got to get 28 out of a possible 40, because you can get 5 for each of them in order to be able to pass the test. So you're looking to achieve a minimum of 28. So how do we do that? Well, let's go through some quick exam tips. One of the points that we've got listed on the screen behind me here is never ever assume. And again, it's listed on this next screen too. Don't make an assumption. If it's not written down in black and white in front of you, then it doesn't exist. You will be given 3 items when you walk into your test. You will be given an answer sheet, which is where you log your answers down. You will be given a scenario booklet, and you will be given a question booklet. You will be asked to put your name on all 3 of those, and today's date, the date of your test also. But from there onwards, you can write whatever you like on your question booklet and on your answer sheet, and I would recommend that you highlight the key words. So, what do you want to be asking yourself when you're going through potential answers? Because you need to be able to highlight that 5-pointer. Well, the first thing is take each statement in isolation in every single question and say, is that statement true or false? Is it a right statement? Is it an incorrect statement? Or is it an assumption? If it's not written down in the scenario, then it's an assumption. So you really want to be avoiding that statement because it's not a factually correct statement. With each statement, it needs to relate back to the scenario. If it doesn't relate to the scenario, then again, it's not a factually correct statement for that question. And then let's look at the sense. Sometimes it sounds nice. The statement has got all the nice words in it that you'd expect to find in a service management question paper, but if it doesn't make sense, then it's not the right answer. So keep common sense in the back of your mind all the time. And then look at the answer in its entirety. Is it a rounded answer? Is it cohesive? Does it make sense together? If it doesn't make any sense together, if it's just a lot of disjointed statements, then the chances are that there's going to be another answer that actually is more cohesive. It's a better answer. It's more rounded. And of course, the last tip is, really importantly, does it answer the question that's been asked of you? Not what you think you've read, but the question you've actually read. For example, if the question says to you, what are the next steps in implementing change management? You're not looking for an answer that just repeats what's already been said in the scenario. In other words, what's already been done. Because the question's asking you for the next steps, not what's already been done. So it's very important that you read the question thoroughly and that the answer that you give relates back to the question. So, there's a few tips for you when you come into your intermediate class. If you want any other tips or you need any other advice or you just need some more information, then just take a look at our website. It's www.connectsphere.com.